want to start saying we're sorry again, but I want to believe you have forgiven us already. I'm going to be talking to you. I'm really going to give you just the introduction to project writing and e-supervision. My members are coming to give you details about all those things. But before we even start rolling the projector, I want to say that we are very, very concerned about people going away from here today with the knowledge that is expected to have been imparted. So please, we want you to concentrate on this program and make our efforts worthwhile. Thank you very much. Now please, can you start rolling the projector? So that's my name. I'm Dr. Akinjobi. I'm the chairperson of this committee. And we want to do justice to the issue of e-supervision and project writing. The next slide. I'm also welcoming you again on behalf of UI DLC and my committee members. You're too fast, please. Roll it gently. Can you go to the next slide, please? Next slide. Yeah. Please go back. Now, this presentation will cover, every presentation we have here, we cover these various aspects. We're going to be talking about project writing and research. We'll give you definitions. We'll give you explanations about project writing. And we'll also talk about University of Ibadan distance learning project writing templates. Now we are going to be selling a template to you, which we expect you to follow verbatim in the process of writing your projects. We will also talk about supervision with particular focus on e-supervision. We want to make your supervision easier for you by introducing to you e-supervision. The next one, no, not yet. Then we will also talk about the UIMS referencing style and also discuss ethical issues. We want to talk about plagiarism. So many people don't even know what is wrong and what is right about project writing. So at this workshop, you're going to be coming across that. And we want to acknowledge University of Ibadan Postgraduate School because we are adopting their research writing templates, their referencing style, the research ethics documents. All these are the things we have adapted and simplified. And we have adopted for University of Ibadan ODL, Undergraduate Project Writing and Supervision Handbook. So we want to say thank you to the Postgraduate School for giving us this opportunity. Now, we want to go to just the briefing on each of these aspects. Why do we need to write a project? And I say why? Students wonder. I've been here, I've taken all the courses, and somebody is forcing me to go out and gather data and write a project. Why do I need to do this? Now, most times, we wonder at undergraduate level. We wonder about project writing. Even some postgraduate students don't really know the reason why they need to write projects. And you cannot say this is not right, that they wonder. Because in Nigeria, most of the time when we write projects, they are kept on the shelves, on the lecturer's shelves. Meanwhile, there's a reason why you do research. All over the world, there are reasons why the university student has to carry out research. We need to know this. And also, as ODL students, it's worse because of the nature of your study. Because you come in, you go. It's not as if you're full-time students. And so it's like an added problem asking you to write a project. So we need to let you know this. Now, let's reason together. Now, in many developed countries, research has been considered as the driving force for the economy. If you're talking about the US, America, you're talking about the Asian tigers, every part of the developed countries, the reason why they are moving up is because they are carrying out researches. So one reason why you need to research is to help your society. It's an established fact that a society must research knowledge to improve the lot of our people. So where there is no research of knowledge, the lot of the people cannot be improved upon. Now, research makes the town and the gown to meet. The town is the society. The gown is the university. So findings from research are meant to be used for product and services of the people in our society. And that's why we are lost, because you carry out a research in this part of the world, is on the shelf. Whereas these researches are meant to be used to improve the lot of the people. But I'll tell you, in recent times, things are changing. And that is why, even at the undergraduate level, we want research to become better. And that is why we are introducing this to our distance learning students. Now, what is a project? Let's look at a project from a wide perspective. When you say you are carrying out a project, what are you doing? You are looking at a carefully planned piece of work to get information about something, to build something, to improve something. So when you are writing or when you are doing a project, you are working to get information about something. You are building something. You are improving something. I'm looking at project from a very wide perspective. Now let's look at the project in the perspective of the academia. Now, from the perspective of the academia, a project is an investigative undertaking, an organized experiential learning. We call it experiential learning because before you can write a project, you must have gone out to look for some things. By experience, is the experience that you have gathered that is going to constitute what you are putting together. And so that's why we call it experiential learning, and it involves design work, field work, or other placement learning. Now, as part of the requirement for the award of bachelor's degrees in most of the universities all over the world, an undergraduate student in a department that requires project writing is expected to undertake a research project in his or her final year of study. Now, much importance is attached to project writing and presentation, and every student researcher is expected to put in or her best. It's expected that you put in, your best into your project writing. It gives you the opportunity to design, undertake, or conduct an independent research or study which is related to your field of study. Of course, you cannot go outside your field of study to write a project, so it has to be within your field of study. Next slide. Now, a project cannot be written and confirmed to be well done by the students. And I put exclamation mark. You can say, oh, I've written my project. I remember a PhD student of mine who came to me with 5 chapters. Chapters 1 to 5, ready. And I smiled. How can chapters 1 to 5 be ready at once? And he told people around, I have completed my work. It's just for my supervisor to read it. You know, a project is not confirmed as good until it has been seen by your supervisor, chapter by chapter. So now, each student is allocated a supervisor or supervisors who is normally a member of the academic staff of the student's department. So that means for you to write the project, you will definitely, or you should have, a supervisor allocated to you. Next slide. Now, what should a student writing his or her project do? Please start listening carefully now. You should read extensively and identify a plausible and researchable title or topic with the approval of your supervisor. I have seen people, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, when they say bring topics, your sister will send a topic to you from London. You go to the department and look at old projects and copy the topic verbatim and take it to your supervisor or to the officer in charge. So the point we are making here is, by the time you take a topic from somebody and you want to write a project on that topic, that person is not writing the project for you. So you're definitely going to run into problems with that kind of projects. The best way to start your project is to read. Even as you are in class now, from 100, 200, 300 level, you should be focusing on your area of interest. Oh, if you are an English student, I prefer phonology. I like stylistics. I like pragmatics. So whichever area you feel more comfortable, that is the place where you should start researching your topic. So you must read extensively. You must, when you have a title, you must also take time to read around your chosen title or topic. And then you should be prepared to follow the laid down formats. You are going to be exposed to a particular laid down format today that we have adopted for UI distance learning. Chapter 1, what you want there. Chapter 2, what you want you to do there. Chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. So that means once you have the format, you can sit yourself down and start molding your work just precisely following the laid down formats. Somebody is coming to talk to you about that. Next slide. Now, and then as a student or as a research student, you must keep all your raw data, your questionnaires, your survey forms, and you must keep them carefully because you may be required to submit them. In my own department, if you go out and you claim you have gathered data, we want to see what you have done. We want to hear the voices you recorded, because some people will sit at home or sit in their hostels and generate data. If you sit in your hostel and generate data, you are not doing justice to yourself. You are not helping yourself, because the first thing you need to know is that you have come to school, you have come for this program to acquire knowledge. The certificate you are obtaining from this place is not a certificate just for the sake of it. It's a certificate you should be able to be proud of and to be able to say, yes, I really, really learned how to do this and that and that. So that is why it is important for you to keep your data and show it to your supervisor and to all concerned when there is a need to submit it. And then you must always submit your work in chapters to the supervisor. Don't bring all the projects at once. Chapter 1, after you must have looked at it and confirmed it's okay, then you go to the next chapter. Be ready for mentoring at every stage of the project. Don't be fed up with your supervisor, because your supervisor is meant to tidy up your work. So as long as he or she is saying what you're doing is not proper enough, it's not yet okay, you have to continue to listen to him, because he's the skilled person in charge. And then you must be receptive to guidance and correction. Some people find it difficult to receive correction or guidance. But no matter what you're doing, as long as you're on this program, you have to make yourself receptive to guidance and correction. The next slide. Mr. Kolajo, the next slide. Now, supervision. How important is supervision now? One of the main concerns of institutions and stakeholders in open and distance learning is quality research supervision. Because for students on ground, they see their lecturers every day. So that means a supervisee can see a supervisor every day on the corridors you meet, on the, in the classrooms you meet. So he has a close contact with a supervisor. But in the case of a distance learner like you don't have that kind of advantage. And so it's a main concern to institutions and stakeholders. How do we supervise ODL students? Now, I said this is due to the challenges of time and space, because ODL students do not have the privilege of regular physical contact. I'm sure you know this. The next slide. Therefore, there is a need to provide distance learners and their supervisors the opportunity to utilize information and communication technology in the writing and supervision of projects. That is the concept we are selling to you today. We want to see how we can make your supervision easier for you, easier for the student. We should not have any problem with the students in terms of, whether we want to do it supervision or we don't want to do it. We can have problem, we may have problem with supervisors, but not with the students, because we are on your side. We're trying to make sure that you can be supervised wherever you are, such that if you live in Lagos, you can stay back in Lagos and be in touch with your supervisor in UI without having to come physically to see your supervisor. Can you go back? Is that the next one? Okay, next one please. Now, supervision in academia is the act of being in charge of a student on a research project and making sure that he or she does it well by following the correct procedure. That is the function of your supervisor. Now, it has been established in most scholarly literature that supervision is one of the major influences on the research student's achievement of success. If you don't have good supervision, there is a tendency that your project will not be good. So now, supervisors are often knowledgeable in the specific research areas, and they are used as reference points by the students. Most of the time, your supervisor is a reference point. If you talk to somebody and say, my supervisor says chapter 1 should contain this, it may even become an argument. If the other person has a different supervisor, you think your own supervisor is right. It's just like the teachers and our young children at home. When you say this is this right, the child says, no, my auntie said it is ego. And he might be wrong, but it's that. So the point I'm trying to make here is, the moment you have a supervisor, we believe your supervisor is knowledgeable in that field of study. So you should also listen to him, and you should see him as a model for subsequent research efforts. You know, it's important, because for me, the person who supervised my PhD years back is still a model to me. When I argue in favor of the pattern by which I did my PhD, because I see my supervisor as my model. So, and that's how it is with most students. That's why we should have good supervisors, and we should maintain good relationship with our supervisor. Therefore, your supervisor is a guide, is a model, he's a teacher, he's a librarian. We'll tell you here today how your supervisor is a librarian. We are not saying you should start saying they'll say you are the librarian. You must give me all the books. But what we are saying, are you listening? Now what we are saying is, we are going to, by the time we have the next workshop with the supervisors, we are going to encourage them to help you with materials. It's possible these days with the issues. You have e-articles, e-books. I have enough books on my laptop for a PhD project. So there is no reason why I can't give them to my students. So the point I'm making is, your supervisor should be able to also help you if they have these materials. Now, approaches. There are two approaches. There is the face-to-face approach, which I'm sure many of you are used to. You go to see the supervisor, you are standing by his side, he's like, I'm busy, I'm going for lecture now, you have to wait. And then he goes for lecture, he comes back, I'm sorry, you're still waiting? I have a meeting to attend. Send it. He goes, you're still waiting. You come back, you see the kind of drama between the supervisor and the supervisee. Not because the supervisor is wicked, but because the supervisor is a busy person. We are here now. Some of our supervisees will be waiting to see us. We can't be at two places at the same time. And that's why we are trying to encourage the new approach, which is the technology-driven approach, which we refer to as e-supervision. Next slide. Now, today, technology has encouraged both the supervisor and supervisee to keep in touch, manage their activities and time effectively, operate efficiently, and share experiences despite the great barriers that may exist in space. If you are in Lagos and I'm here in Ibadan, we can be in touch, even more than people that live with me in UI. We all know now. On phone, if I speak to you every day, I'm in touch with you. If we see on Facebook and we chat, if we meet on Google Plus and we chat, I see you every day. But somebody, a colleague of mine here in UI, I may not see him for a whole month. So the person I talk to every day, I think we have a better relationship than somebody I don't even see. And yet, the office is next to mine. So technology has made it possible for you to be in touch with people even without seeing them. So whether we are talking of the traditional or e-supervision, the role of the supervisor is central to a student's research activity, and is perhaps the most important variable in determining the success of the research process. The next slide. So along with the supervisee ensures that satisfactory progress is being achieved throughout the entire duration of the project. How can you do this? Manage your time well. If your supervisor says this is the timetable, I want chapter 1 by the first month of March, you make it possible. Because if you don't make it the first day of March, if you don't make it possible, you have to fix another time with him. And he's a busy man. So you have a lot to do to make sure that your project is a success. This is particularly crucial at the early stages of the research, when you're just starting. A lot of things will not be clear to you. You need to talk to him often. How do I do this? By the time you get to chapter 3, you will feel more comfortable on the project. Therefore, as supervisees, you must be receptive to good supervision. Next one. Let's look at the side effects of not being receptive to good supervision. If you, I don't want to use the word mess up, but if you don't handle your supervision well, let's see what's going to happen to your projects. You will not be able to define any problem. You will soon listen to Dr. Chukwu, who will tell you what all these things entail. Now, you will not be able to define the problem. You will lose focus. You will be unable to identify research questions or hypotheses. You you'll be unable to locate any important knowledge gap. You will lack appropriate research design. You will use poor methodology and procedure. Then you will have poor and inappropriate research instruments, inappropriate means of data collection, wrong methods. I'm looking at it systematically from the beginning to the very end now. At the end of it all, there will be wrong results and misleading interpretations and inferences. What is going to happen? There will be a failure to solve any problem. When you cannot solve a problem in project writing, you are going to finally arrive at frustration. Why will you do that? Because there's a tendency that you may need to rework that path you have walked through once more. If your supervisor is not satisfied with the work you have done. So I'm concluding now. My conclusion is the other presenters are coming to do justice to the various issues I have raised in this presentation. Please, we appeal to you, be very attentive. I wish you a nice experience at this workshop. Thank you very much.